They're talking about the NFL from a different perspective. Game recaps, stats, big plays, predictions, and much more. You're listening to the B&E podcast with Ed Donaldson and Brandon Simpson.
Say your prayers, wear your pajamas inside out, or simply just believe, everyone, because the Chiefs can be eliminated from playoff contention if four other teams do one thing that they're supposed to do every week. Excuse me, and that's win. Thank you so much for joining us as we preview another week of NFL action, ladies and gentlemen. It is coming down to the wire. We got 4 more weeks, including this one, to see how it goes. Yeah, 4 more weeks. Ed, how's it going, man?
Doing good, man. Like you said, week 15, man. This every time, every year, it'd be flying by, but I'm doing good, man.
That's good.
Get we started with this opening drive, though, shall we? Jaden Daniels is out versus the Giants with his elbow injury. The Colts say Phillip Rivers could start Sunday's game against Jacksonville. Cardinals running back Trey Benson will miss the remainder of the season with a knee injury. Texas minority owner Javier Loya has been suspended indefinitely and fined for violating the league's personal conduct policy. Raiders quarterback Kenny Pickett is in line to start Sunday's game against the Eagles as Geno Smith nurses shoulder and back injuries. Steelers linebacker T.J. Watt was hospitalized earlier this week for a lung evaluation after experiencing pain at the team's practice facility. And defensive tackle Travis Jones is staying in Baltimore on a 3-year extension. Just before we get, going with the previews and everything, the Jaden Daniels news, man, I don't know, man. I want him to play, but at the same time, I get it. Got to protect the franchise and all this. Now, I won't be surprised if we just shut him down for the rest of the year, and then I'm figuring they probably won't even put him in the preseason. They're just gonna let him, go to the regular season next year, and just hope he gets better. I'm hoping he gets better too, but yeah, just a terrible, terrible year. That's all I gotta say about that, though.
Understood. Yeah, I was just telling you about I think after our show last week, Travis Jones, we needed to get that deal done, and I was surprised they did. Apparently they were supposed to have some sort of arbitration because he missed part of his rookie season because of I can't remember what it was, but so it would have made him a restricted free agent versus an unrestricted free agent this off season. So apparently they got it done right before that arbitration was supposed to start hours before. And then TJ Watt, man, being an AFC North Ravens fan, you have respect for those guys. I always mention all the time the pass rushers in that division, Myles Garrett, Watt, and Trey Henderson. Prayers for him, man. One of the sports shows I was watching, they mentioned Tyrod Taylor a couple of years ago. He had a procedure, I think, before the game where they were working on his lungs as well. He ended up being out, and I think he missed the remainder of the season, if I'm not mistaken. I think he had a lawsuit against the Chargers at that time and won, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah. So hopefully TJ Watt, from last I heard, he's still in the hospital as of Friday morning. They're still not rolling him out for Monday night. I doubt he'll be out there. I doubt he's going to put himself at risk like that, and I doubt that the Steelers are going to allow him to as well. But yeah, prayers up for him as well. Okay. What a game Thursday night, man. The Falcons rallied to take down their division rival Buccaneers 29-28. ESPN.com's recap online, it started with, quote, maybe Kirk Cousins should have been starting the entire season, end quote. I don't know about that statement, but I will give credit where credit's due. He did play a good game. He took advantage of his playmakers in the absence of Drake London. Bijan Robinson is one of those playmakers. I'm talking about 82 yards on 8 receptions, nearly 200 total scrimmage yards and a touchdown as well. Kyle Pitts, Ed's guy, 11 receptions, 166 yards and 3 touchdowns. Man, I was surprised when I saw that stat line. And remember early in the season, we was talking about the Atlanta defense, how they had made improvements. Then they got a little bit of a drought around that week 6, week 8 mark until pretty much Thursday night. And they came back on this week, 5 sacks, led by their 2 first-rounders, from 2025, James Pierce. He was second of 2 first-rounders in April. And Jalen Walker, he also got the bake one time. All around good team win for Atlanta. Zane Gonzalez on special teams. He had been under the microscope since they let go of Younghoe Koo. He only had 1 kick last night, but it was a game winner from 43. So that's all that counts. Just an extremely tough loss for Tampa Bay, y'all. Y'all know what's at stake for them right now. They dropped the second place in NFC South. Plus, they haven't even played Carolina, the team that leapfrogged them in the first place, by simply just sitting at home last night. Not a good look for the Buccaneers. I know y'all probably saw the press conference or the highlights of the press conference when Todd Bowles was going off cussing about the players. That's not normal out of him. He's a very quiet guy, at least from what I know about him. So it says a lot about this game and how he felt about what happened. Apparently up by 14 there in the fourth quarter to let it squander against a Falcons team that's basically been eliminated from the playoffs. But let's hear what Ed has to say about this one.
Yeah, man. Tony Gonzalez before the game, I guess the Falcons might have had the TV on in the locker room because he's basically saying, we got to get Kyle Pitts going. He's only got 1 touchdown on the year. Highest drafted tight end of all time, drafted like number 4 overall, contract year, all these things. And Kirk Cousins, like you said, Drake London being out, Kirk Cousins giving him the ball. You see across the screen here, 11 receptions, 166 yards, 3 touchdowns. I mean, I've been talking about Kyle Pitts all year. He's my fantasy team. Thank God I had him in the game last night because I was debating, like, should I start Kyle Pitts? He's been doing good these couple of weeks. I'm gonna let him in there because it's the playoffs now. Boy, am I happy, man. 40 points of fantasy points production for Kyle Pitts. Thank you, Kyle Pitts. I appreciated your performance so much last night. And I was just thinking to myself, he's capable of doing this every game. I do not understand where he has games where he's got 0 receptions or he's dropping passes just up and down. This is the ceiling for Kyle Pitts, everybody. He can do this pretty much on anyone, I think. Now, don't get me wrong. The Buccaneers defense last night wasn't the greatest. I don't know if it's injuries or what. They're just in a slump right now. I should have been, more concerned when they lost to the Saints last week. I did chalk it off to, it's a divisional opponent. It's one of those games that happens. But you were getting to that time of year where other teams are getting eliminated. Like Tony Gonzalez was saying, it's contracts for people. So right now, people are playing free. People are playing for, incentives in their contract, bonuses in their contracts. So you're going to see a lot of stuff we haven't seen earlier in the year. That's what I'm anticipating the rest of the year. And as far as the Bucs, let me just mention your boy Kirk Herbstreit for a second. It was late in the game. The Falcons are driving, and they show a shot of Baker Mayfield on the sideline. And here goes Kirk Herbstreit. Oh, look at Baker Mayfield. You see him looking at the screen. You see him looking back at the field. You see him looking at the screen. He's looking at the clock, and he's looking back at the field. He's anticipating when he's going to get back on the field and come back and out there and win this game. I'm thinking to myself, man, Kirk Street, you don't shut the hell up, man. How about you talk about what Kirk Cousins is doing out there, carving up the Buccaneers defense? I'm biased, everyone. Kirk Herbstreit's Ohio State guy. I'm a Michigan guy. Kirk Herbstreit, he's getting in that Chris Collinsworth territory for me. I can't stand him, so that's just that right there. But goddamn, Kirk Herbstreit, you kind of look like a clown to me in that instance, just because the Falcons were able to come back and win that game. But yeah, this is a tough loss for the Buccaneers. They better beat the Panthers when they play them now, because y'all lose the NFC South. Y'all definitely ain't getting to the playoffs. And I'm just hoping this doesn't affect Todd Bowles' job in any way. I think he's done a great job with the Buccaneers and making them a perennial contender each year. Hopefully, they don't treat him like kind of how the Steelers be treating Mike Tomlin and want him out of there after every loss. So we'll see how that goes. But tough loss for the Buccaneers. Y'all better you better win all your games, like especially against the Panthers and the Falcons. I wouldn't want to play them if I'm trying to get in the playoffs. Like I said, end of the year, guys are playing loose now. Guys are playing for money, incentives in the contract, things like that. So it's going to be tough sledding, especially if Kirk's doing like he did out there too. So we'll see how it goes the rest of the way for the Falcons.
It's funny you mentioned that about Kirk Herbstreit, man. I don't know if you remember when Baker got traded from the Panthers
Oh
to
yeah, I
the
remember when he played
Rams.
with the Rams. Oh,
He started
don't
that
bring it up.
Thursday night game.
That's another
Yep.
10-minute rant I'm going. Yeah,
He
don't.
got a love fest for Baker Mayfield. And I like Bake too. Now that he's with Tampa. I ain't like when he was with Cleveland, but not that much, man. Like you said, focus on what the job and task at hand is.
Oh my
Talking about
God.
that the Atlanta offense, they was on the field at that time. Yeah, focus on that. So we got a classic AFC West matchup Sunday, 1 o'clock p.m. Eastern time on CBS is the kickoff. Chargers at Chiefs. Ed, please call your boy Jim Harbaugh and tell him I need a Chargers win.
Vegas is thinking they'll win. I think the
Yeah.
Chargers are favored in this game. Right now, I like they got Marion Hampton back. My only concern is just the health of Justin Herbert and his hand. Is he going to be all right? I mean, he did play okay against the Eagles. I think right now that the Chiefs are they're in the back of the wall mode right now. So they're fighting, surviving, trying to do whatever they can to get into the playoffs. So I think they're definitely going to be motivated out there to play. This is a divisional matchup. Who knows what happens with these divisional matchups as we've seen throughout our lives watching NFL football. So you never know. But right now, I'm leaning toward the Chargers. I just think the Chiefs right now, they're going to have to retool and try again next year. I don't think right now that the Chiefs can do anything to stop Omarion Hampton. I think Lat McConkey, even though he didn't have a great game last week against the Eagles, I think he'll be an X factor out there. I'm wondering if the rookie tight end for the Chargers is going to, the first few weeks, he didn't really do anything. Then the mid-season, he kind of took off, and then he kind of tailed back down. I'm wondering if he's going to shoot back up again. Mari Gatson, tight end for the Chargers. I wonder if we're going to see a reemergence for him against the Chiefs. And then on the Chiefs side of the ball, it just seems like I know, Travis Kelce, his numbers look good, but when you watch him play, the ball's hitting him in the hands. He's not catching it, and then a turnover happens. That's happened like 3 or 4 times, I want to say, so far this year. I don't know if he'll play again after the season. I honestly don't. He's kind of his performances, is on the decline. I don't think he's on a plateau. I think he's declining. So I'm wondering, I wonder what we'll get out of him. He does seem to have the Chargers number, but at the same time, like I said, his performance is on a decline. I think to Derwin James picking him up and body slamming him, basically, I wouldn't mind seeing something like that happen again. But right now, I'm leaning toward the Chargers. It seems like every time the Chiefs go out there and play, Patrick Mahomes is either leading the team in rushing or not too far behind Kareem Hunt. Pacheco's coming off injury, so he hasn't really looked like how we expected him to or how I expected him to. And I think the Chargers will do enough to win this game and put the Chiefs out of their misery. I'm sure you like to hear that, Brandon. But what are your thoughts on this game?
Very much. But so many times over the years, y'all, the Chargers, they've been eliminated from the playoffs, partly, in fact, because of the Chiefs, because they won so many games, won so many divisional titles. But now they've got the opportunity to help flip the script on Sunday, as I mentioned. Key to this game, though, in my opinion, is which team can run the ball better. It's not been in either team's DNA much this year. LA's run game has been a little bit better, but not by much. Omarion Hampton, he returned to the lineup. I believe it was last week. He was the bell horse, though, in week 1 when they played out of the country. It was the Chargers home game, week 1 on I think it was Friday night of that week. Now I'm going to turn my attention to the quarterbacks, man. Ball security has been an issue for both teams. Patrick Mahomes coming off 3 interception game. I think it was mainly his receiver's fault. You mentioned Kelce's, seemed like he's been a decline. He had one slip off his hands, went into the defender. It was right behind him. I don't anticipate them turning over the ball like that again, back to back. On the other side, Herbert, still a little banged up probably. His accuracy has dropped a little bit this year. 3 interceptions all of last year. He's already 11 so far in 2025 with 4 more games to go. So, yeah, I remember way back when they met in week 1, LA, they shocked everyone by throwing the ball all over the yard. We was all talking about that after that game. We thought it was going to be a run-heavy type of game plan for LA, but it wasn't. Plus the defense, they got after Kansas City And they had several drops by the Chiefs receivers as well. Plus I think that was a game where Kelsey ran into Rashee Rice or Xavier Worthy, one of them two. I think it was Worthy because Rice was suspended.
Worthy. Yep.
Yeah, it's just so hard to bet against the Chiefs, but I feel like the Chargers have the edge. Same reasons you mentioned. I think, though, when it's all said and done, we'll be talking about the success of the Chargers defense in our recap show after this game for sure. Give me the Chargers over the Chiefs.
And speaking of defense, I forgot that the Chiefs O-line is kind of banged up. I think they had like 3 offensive linemen out last week. I know one of their offensive linemen, Wanya Harris, is out for a year now. So they're going to have to keep an eye out on the Chargers edge rushers and D lineman Tuli Puloto, 10 sacks on the year for the Chargers too. Might hear his name a lot. All right, everybody. We got the AFC East matchup. Bills going to Foxborough, take on the Patriots. Brandon, how do you see this matchup going?
If y'all remember week 5, the Bills hosted the Patriots. Buffalo, they had an unbeaten team heading into that one. Stephon Diggs, he had his coming out party with his new team against his former team as well. Buffalo had 3 turnovers. 2 of them was by Josh Allen. I think revenge is on the mind of the Bills this week. From a mental standpoint, I think that they could win mentally because they won the past 2 games. They're in a groove. New England, though, speaking of winning, they're coming off a bye. I think they're like on a 10-game, 9-game win streak, give or take. And Mike Vrabel, as a head coach, he is, I think, perfect coming off a bye week during his time with the Tennessee Titans. Of course, this is his first bye week with the Patriots, but it is something to keep in mind. You said the other day Josh Allen is probably the best dual threat quarterback of all time, or definitely in football now. I think we'll need to see him at his best to beat this New England team. They're only giving up around 18 points per game. How can the Patriots keep Josh Allen in the pocket is going to be key to this one, in my opinion. Maybe it's Harold Landry. He's having a really good season, his first season with New England. Or possibly bring the safeties down in the box. But then you expose the deep threats that Buffalo can, Josh Allen on the run, he can, really hit those guys downfield for sure. I think 2 key players for Buffalo, they're also on injury watch, Terrell Bernard and Joey Bosa. Those guys have been questionable all week. I think they need to be at full strength to keep the pressure on Drake May because we know how he could push the ball downfield as well. That's something that is really elevated in his game this year. So, yeah, something tells me that this 10-game win streak for New England is going to come to an end on Sunday. Will the Bills come back and win the AFC East? I doubt it, but I do like their odds in this one. What about you?
Yeah, this is a pick'em game for me, man. Even though the Patriots have like one of the easiest strengths of schedule this year, you can't blame them for it. I mean, they're winning games. They're playing who they got on the schedule and beating them. I mean, you look at the last few opponents, like they beat the Jets, the Bengals, the Bucks. We thought was a legit win, but now we're looking at the Bucks like, I don't know. And they beat the Falcons and the Browns as other teams too. So we'll see how they look against the Bills. I'm looking at the Bills defense. The last 2 weeks, I had Christian Benford as my defensive player of the week. I definitely think he's going to have to come out with his A game this week because, Stephon Diggs, for the rest of his career, he's going to be motivated to play against the Bills and try to kill them. I definitely can see him having a type of performance like that. But I've been noticing with the Patriots, Drake May, it might not be Diggs only. It might be Mac Hollins. It might be Hunter Henry. Might be Keyshawn Booth. It's not just one guy that dominates. Even though Diggs is leading the team in reception yards, week to week, it could be different guys killing you. And then you never know what you're going to get from their rookie running back, TreVeyon Henderson, because he can go crazy on you one week. So I need to see how this Bills defense looks against the Patriots offense. That's one thing I'm looking for. And the same on the other side. How's this Patriots defense, like you talked about, going to do against Josh Allen and crew? Hopefully we get a heavy dosage of James Cook in this game. I think this is one of these games because I've been saying a lot like the Bills have been kind of topsy-turvy 1 week or 2 weeks. They look really good. and then next week they lose to like the Atlanta Falcons. Don't get me wrong, I know that was early in the season, but they do have games like that. So I need to see a well-rounded, balanced game from the Bills. Not just I don't think Josh Allen can put on the Superman cape and go out there and take a 40-yard touchdown to the house like he did against the Bengals. I could be wrong. He does seem to do it, but I think James Cook. Hopefully we see a little bit more of the wide receivers, not just Khalil Shakir, but Keon Coleman, and guys like that. I think I can't remember the other guy's name they just picked up, but they've been picking up some guys recently off the free agency line. But I need to see a lot of James Cook, and they're really good with their running backs catching the ball out of backfield too. Ty Johnson, I believe his name is, and the other fellow whose name escapes you at the moment. Sorry about that, y'all. But right now, I am leaning towards the Bills. I think this is one of those must-win games just because the AFC right now is really close. So if they lose this type of game, who knows how it will affect their playoff position. So I think the Bills need to win this game a little bit more than the Patriots do. But like I said, it's a picking game for me. But right now, I'm gonna lean towards the Bills. I'm still not sold on the Patriots. I think that when they get to the playoffs, they'll probably lose in the first round. I could be wrong though, but we'll see. And I want to see. I need to see. I think the most thing I'm talking about is what you said. The Patriots defense against Josh Allen. Is Harold Landry? He's leading the team for the Patriots in sacks 7.5. How he's going to look out there? How are they going to contain Josh Allen? But yeah, right now I'm leaning towards the Bills. We'll see how it goes up. All right, everybody. Now we're going to an NFC matchup. Lions taking on the Rams. Jared Goff facing off against his former team. They asked him questions about it. You're taking on your former team. How do you feel? And he was basically like, we're still talking about that. It was like 3 years ago that he played for the Rams. I don't blame him. Right now, I'm leaning towards the Rams. I just think the injuries to the Lions secondary, Brian Branch, one of their best defenders. I think he's probably like their second best defender besides Aiden Hutchinson being out. They lost Terry and Arnold out there, so they're going to have a long day dealing with Puka Nacua and Devontae Adams, and they got a pretty good, decent tight end, in my opinion, too. And I didn't even mention Kyron Williams. So I think that Lions defense is going to have a long day out there, and it's going to put a lot more pressure on the Lions offense. Don't get me wrong. Jahmyr Gibbs is an incredible back. Him and David Montgomery doing well. They kind of tailed off. I think the injury to Sam Laporta kind of messed up their offense. It has helped Jameson Williams get going a little bit more. But right now, I just think the Rams overall a healthier team, a better team. I do think Jared Goff is going to play motivated. When he does go against his old team, he definitely wants to get out there and win. But I'm leaning towards the Rams in this one. I also think their defense is going to give some trouble to the Lions. Byron Young, 11 sacks, leading the Rams in sacks. So I think we'll hear his name a lot. I talk about Jared Verse and Braden Allen, I think his name is, or Braden, the other guy for the defense for the Rams, defensive tackle. I talk about him a lot. Definitely think, though, he'll hear his name a lot, or their names a lot. Give me the Rams in this one. I think it'll be a relatively close game, but I think the Rams will pull away. I don't know if they'll pull away early or pull away, but I do think they'll pull away, and the Rams will win this one. Brandon, what are your thoughts?
These games are typically box office, man. Week 1 of 2024, the start of last season, it went to overtime. The Lions, they won on the legs of David Montgomery. Different teams now, different situation. Right now, the Rams, they're clicking on all cylinders. Matthew Stafford, 35 touchdowns, 4 interceptions. Kyron Williams, he's just shy of 1,000 yards on the ground. Puka Nacua, we know he's putting on a clinic out there. As you mentioned, Byron Young, 11 sacks. That's tied for 5th most in the National Football League. And Landman, man, another one of those linebackers that I've been talking about a lot this year. He's all over the place there for this Chris Shula defense, which, by the way, Chris Shula is making a name for himself as a top coaching candidate as well. But on the field, they must, as far as LA goes, they must have a plan to slow down Jahmyr Gibbs and St. Brown. And most importantly, they must execute it too. Because we see teams try to, put together their game plan during the week, get out there on Sunday or Monday, whatever, And it's almost like they've done nothing during the week. They got to be able to slow down those two. Jahmyr Gibbs can run the ball. He can catch the ball out the backfield. I mentioned Dave Montgomery off the top. He also, of course, they call him Sonic and Knuckles for a reason. He could pound those yards at you as well. And then Detroit overall, they entered the game number 1 in points per game on offense, 5th in passing, 5th in rushing. That's why I mentioned those guys there. On the other side, let's say the Rams get out to a 14-point lead, because I think that they will at some point get ahead in this one, just like you, and not look back. That's when you start seeing Dan Campbell start pulling some of those silly bonehead stunts, like going for it on 4th down on each 4th down that that he had. I think it was against Philadelphia, and it doesn't work. So that's also going to play a factor as well. Like, he get a little antsy. Like, he like, okay, most time it's, you listen to the broadcast and they're like, okay, well, they're going to punt it back to the opposing team because they trust the defense. It's almost like he don't trust his defense because he just start doing silly stuff like that, and it don't always go in their favor. So that's something to watch as well. But yeah, I honestly see the Rams putting on an offensive clinic against this banged up Detroit defense. They can get out of hand fast, as I mentioned. That I think it can get out to a double score lead early on. They're at home, so that's going to play a factor as well. Detroit, they're fighting for their playoff lives, and that gets back to that antsiness as well. So we're going to see how Dan Campbell acts. He's still calling those plays on offense. While the Rams, they're looking to keep their spot as the number 1 seed. So regardless if the Rams win or not, they're still in a better position. I still think that the Rams will take this one at home. Give me Los Angeles in this one over Detroit.
Yeah, and Braden Fitz is the guy I was thinking of. Couldn't think of the last name.
Got you. Okay. This episode is brought to you by Premium, a CBD and wellness company. Check out their full line of CBD-infused products, which make great stocking stuffers for the upcoming holiday season. Perfect for athletes, weekend warriors, soccer moms, and even armchair quarterbacks. They have CBD-infused honey, which is a personal favorite of mine, as well as tinctures in mint and regular flavor. Most importantly, they're veteran and women-owned, so come get some of this sweet temptation and taste the premium difference. Use code B&E for 15% off your order. Their website is www.premium.com. That's PREHEMIUM.com. And now back to our show.
All right, everyone. We got the Packers taking on the Broncos. Anyone remembers these teams played each other in the Super Bowl back in the 90s. You never know. Maybe we'll see another Super Bowl of these two teams this year. But this is going to be a really good game. I think both of these defenses are going to, throw a wrench in the offense. Right now, I'm kind of leaning towards the Packers. I think Bo Nix might have some issues dealing with Micah Parsons, Rashawn Gary, Keyshawn Nixon. He made a huge play last week against the Bears. So I'm leaning towards them, but also think Jordan Love might come back down to earth going against this Broncos defense. Like I said, he kind of, these last few games, he's been playing really well, multiple touchdowns, limited interceptions, limited turnovers, but this is one of those defenses. If you leave it up there, they'll definitely go get it. You talk about Nick Bonito a lot. Certain, reigning defensive player of the year. So I'm definitely going to see which offense is going to be able to, do their thing against the defense. One of the main reasons I'm leaning towards Green Bay, I just think Josh Jacobs, I know he's been dealing with a knee injury, but I think he's going to be an X factor. They lean on him, get him going, and it just opens everything up. Packers also, Christian Watson has been really great in his return. They also get Jaden Reed back. I think he's a new improved Deebo Samuel out there. Those are the main reasons I'm leaning towards the Packers, but I do think it'll be a close game. Jordan Love, it's going to be on you. Don't make any boneheaded plays like you did against the Carolina Panthers a few weeks ago, and y'all should win this game. I just think the Packers defense is going to do just enough to contain Bo Nix and the Broncos offense. But at the same time, this Broncos defense mess around and score a touchdown on themselves. And I'm not trying to, dismiss the Broncos offense. I know Bo Nix has been looking good. Cortland Sutton has been playing well. I like RJ Harvey, the running backs they have. But I just think right now that the Packers defense is going to be just a little bit too much for the Broncos offense. That's kind of how I see it going. I think Josh Jacobs is going to be the hammer to put the nail in the ground, too, at the end of the game. Brandon, how do you see this going?
It's still a little hard to believe the Broncos are 6-0 at home, man. But if they don't start faster on offense, like I mentioned so many times, that push
Yeah.
mower with the little pulley and the prime, you know what I'm saying? They don't start faster, man. They're gonna be suffer their first loss there at Empower Field. I see this one more as a defensive battle, though. I agree with you. You got Denver's defense, they're stout on every level. Then you got Green Bay's unit that they're known to make key plays at the times they need it the most, and that's what helps them get back in this hunt in the NFC North. Um, I think if these two units even out, like I assume they will, I'm going to go with the better offense, and that's Green Bay, in my opinion. Jordan Love, you mentioned him, he's been on a roll lately. 4 touchdowns against Detroit on Thanksgiving, came back with 3 against his arch rival Chicago last week. I'm just hoping that light switch don't push the off, and that would mean that would equal up to a bad game for him, man. You mentioned it. The game against Carolina wasn't so good. He followed up with 2 straight decent games or so. This is a tough place to play, man. They do something on third down where they played I think it's either third or fourth down when they get a stop on defense. They played a little horse sound and the crowd gets amped up. You can't always hear it in the broadcast, but it's something, that the fans, that 12th man, they talk about in Seattle all the time. Those fan bases that can really come out and make some noise and make some mistakes on third down or first down, false start or something like that. It helps that home team as well. But yeah, on the other side though, you got to give credit where credit's due. The Denver Broncos, they continue to find ways to win games, man. I think Green Bay, they'll want to get ahead by a bunch because the Broncos, they're such of a fourth quarter team. Came back from 33 down against the Giants. I think they had a good comeback against the Eagles as well. Yeah, the Broncos play really good when they get going late in the game. But I'm looking forward to see this Green Bay receiver group go up against those Denver corners, Surtain, and the other two. They got 2 other good corners that's escaping me at the moment as well. I think that'll be one of the best matchups to watch in this game when it's all said and done. But honestly, I'm going to give a slight edge to the Green Bay Packers on the road. I like both of these teams, but I think Green Bay is just a little bit better than Denver at the moment. Okay, week 15, everyone. It'll come to an end Monday night in Western Pennsylvania when the Steelers host the Dolphins. Let's find out how Ed sees this one going.
Yeah, I have a feeling I know who you want to win this game. I need to see, is Devin Achane going to play for the Dolphins, and how the Steelers deal with the Dolphins defense through the last couple of weeks. Even though you can say the level of opponent has been top notch, they have been winning games. They're almost 1 game away from 500 to 6-7. Steelers look good against the Ravens, but as you mentioned, y'all pass rush pretty much was not there. The Dolphins, they got a couple of guys. Chop Robinson comes to mind. So I'm wondering if Aaron Rodgers is going to have the same time to, go sit back there and throw the ball, or is he going to deal with some pressure from the Dolphins right now? And like I said, is Devin Achane going to play? Because the Steelers rush defense isn't exactly the greatest out there. So Devin Achane's playing. I really like the Dolphins' chances. Even though I think it was last week when Devin Achane went out, was it Jalen? I think his name's Jalen Wright for the Dolphins. He played really good too. So whoever they got out there, Ollie Gordon, somebody like that, Pittsburgh's defense, the run defense, y'all better not sleep because I don't know. I think the Steelers are favored in this game, but I'm just not too sure about that. I think the Dolphins got something going right now. I'm kind of leaning towards the Dolphins to take an upset. But at the same time, the Steelers, they needed that game last week. This could be one of those games where, just make something happen. And then you got Jalen Ramsey going against his old team. He's probably going to be motivated to play against the Dolphins and smack some people around and make some things happen. But right now, I'm leaning towards the Dolphins. If Achane's playing, I think he's going to go crazy on the Steelers rush defense. And Ollie Gordon and, Jalen Wright too. I think all three of them are dynamic enough where they can do some running back by committee games just in case A-Chain's ribs is still not fully healthy, but he's able to play. So I'm leaning towards the Dolphins in this one. I just need Tua to keep playing how he's playing, limit the turnovers, don't do anything too crazy, hit Jalen Waddle in stride and let him, dominate out there after the catch of his speed. But at the same time, the Dolphins defenders, the secondary, hey, DK Metcalf came alive last week. Y'all could be dealing with a lot of him too.
Yep.
Roman Wilson, he's seen it coming to life out there. If you don't get pressure on Aaron Rodgers, he looked vintage last week. So if we get another vintage performance, it could be easy going for the Steelers. But for some reason, I'm leaning towards the Dolphins. Brandon, what say you?
Yeah, man. A-Chain, as you mentioned, probably the best running back the Steelers they will have to face since they had James Cook and Buffalo run all over them a couple weeks ago. Of course, Derrick Henry was the following week. We just didn't utilize him. But A-Chain has a different speed factor than someone like Derrick Henry does. I think Mike Tomlin, he's going to have a plan, though, to stop number 28. I remember them interviewing him last year. I can't remember who the running back was, but the running back was on a stride. I want to say it was against Christian McCaffrey in San Fran. And they interviewed him before the game. They said, how do you plan to stop whoever it was? And he was like, we literally got to focus on stopping him first in the entire game. So I think it's going to be something like that because 28 is the backbone of this Miami offense. And that's part of the reason why they won 4 straight as well. At the same time, though, Miami, they've struggled against stopping the run. They've gotten a little bit better as of late, but like the first 8 games or so, you knew the game plan against Miami was to run the ball downhill against them because they had no answer. They also struggle in the secondary as well. So now you bring in DK Metcalf, as you mentioned, coming off his best game this season. He's physical. Miami's corners are kind of weak. They're kind of like not too well known right now. They've been slim on those corners since they traded away where I'm about to go now, Jalen Ramsey, since they traded him away, and they got Minka Fitzpatrick, but of course he plays safety. So those two guys, Jalen and Minka, look for one of those players to try to make a game-changing play to help their team. That's going to be fun to watch them there. Minka Fitzpatrick going back to Pittsburgh, where he spent several years over the last portion of his career. But yeah, I'm confident though that Pittsburgh will get this one done against the Dolphins at home. I think they've won 22 straight Monday Night Football games at home. Pittsburgh, I heard that stat line. So it would be nice to see Miami go in there and snap that winning streak. But again, it is very hard to play there at home when that crowd is going. And then if it's a close game heading into fourth quarter and they play Renegade, man, the crowd gets going even louder, and it's very hard to finish that game out and get a win there. But yeah, I'm going with the Steelers, even though my heart says go with Miami. Several other Week 15 games on the calendar to look forward to, y'all. We got the Browns and the Bears, the Ravens at Bengals, Commanders at Giants, Raiders at Eagles, Jets at Jaguars, Arizona at Houston. The late window will feature Carolina and New Orleans, Tennessee and San Fran, Indianapolis and Seattle. And on Sunday, it'll finish out in Arlington, Texas on Sunday Night Football. Vikings at Cowboys. Couple of games I'm looking forward to. Browns, Bears. Come on, Myles Garrett. I've been saying get this sack record. I know you got 4 games, but we got to get it done, man. That way the NFL next year, they don't put us at the end of the year and you have a chance to break it officially. We got to get it done this year. Let's see, what do we got? Commanders and Giants, man. Ed's always talking about this New York defensive line against his team, particularly. I think Kayvon Thibodeau, you talk about how he doesn't always do good against other teams, but he looks like Lawrence Taylor against your team. So you got Marcus Mariota out there. So we'll see how that one goes. Looking forward to see how that shapes out. Raiders or Eagles, y'all. If this Eagles team drops to this Raiders team, oh, man, pray for that city, man. They might be climbing light poles like they do when they win Super Bowls, man, just in protest this time. They may be trying to set the damn city on fire out there because they cannot afford to lose another game, Philadelphia. Even though they got a cushion there in the NFC, East. From a standpoint of your fans and the media attention that they get, they cannot afford a loss against a lonely Raiders team. Colts and Seahawks, y'all. Go ahead and put Phillip Rivers out there if you want to against the Seattle defense. See what happens. I'm trying to tell you, man. They're gonna crack them, man, because they can get home with their front four. They don't have to blitz linebackers and safeties like the Ravens did have to do. Tie that all together because they got our old defense coordinator as their coach, man. They can get home, and I think Phillip Rivers would have a long afternoon if they were to start him. But I do think they'll end up putting Riley Leonard in there if he's healthy. And Ravens and Bengals, man, Baltimore don't play silly football, man. The last time we played Cincinnati, of course, I think it was 4 or 5 turnovers. Lamar had 2, Zay had 1. Isaiah Likely was changing the ball from the right hand to the left, going to the end zone, ended up fumbling that ball. It was just a mess on offense. We got to keep Burrow and Chase in check, just like we did last time. Because I think if we can not play silly football on offense, and then we hold those two in check defensively, we got a good shot in this one. And then also we got a tackle on special teams, man. That's been an issue all season long, a low-key issue because of the higher issues on offense and defense. Hit the guy first when you first make contact with him, the returner on special teams, man. We got to keep these teams from starting at the 35, 40-yard line plus, man. It cannot continue to happen like that if we want to have any shot of getting back in this divisional race, man. But I mentioned those 4 teams at the top of the show. I need wins by the Chargers, the Bills, the Jaguars, and the Texans. Sounds easy because all 4 of those teams are pretty much on a win streak, at the very minimum 2 with Buffalo. All 4 of those teams, I need y'all to win to eliminate Kansas City and the Chiefs, man. Ed, which of these games you looking forward to?
I'm looking forward to this Vikings-Cowboys game. This is going to be one of the first times I'm actually cheering for the Cowboys, since the loss to the Vikings last week still has a bad taste in my mouth. I'm hoping the Cowboys go out there and punish the Vikings. I really do. I was just so pissed at that game. Definitely going to be taking a look at the Seahawks-Colts game just to see who the quarterback is going to be for the Colts. And I got Jonathan Taylor. I say it once again, everybody, this is fantasy football playoffs for me. I got Jonathan Taylor as one of my running backs. So even though I think the Seahawks are going to beat them, I'm hoping they don't completely shut down Jonathan Taylor. But like you said, that Seahawks defense is not something to joke around with. I'm looking at the Browns-Bears game too. I want to see how Shedeur looks against the Bears defense, because he did put up great numbers against the Titans. But as everybody who doesn't like Shedeur Sanders says, oh, it was the Titans. They stink. The Bears, better defense, better team overall, and I'm sure they're going to try to give Shedeur hell. So I want to see how he looks out there. It'd be great to see him get a win against the Bears, but I really doubt that's going to happen. Commanders, Giants, like I said last week, if it wasn't for the economics of this game, I wouldn't even have this game on TV. Honestly, I don't think the Commanders deserve to be on TV anymore. I don't even think they deserve to play anymore. But like I said, for the economics of it, people got jobs to do out there. So that's how it goes with that. Raiders, Eagles. It'd be so hilarious if Kenny Pickett came in there, former Eagle, and beat his old team. That would be so funny. I know everybody will try to get Nick Sirianni and the Eagles killed. They probably want to trade away Jalen Hurts and all this stuff, trade away AJ Brown, just blow the whole thing down. So that'd be great to see, but I doubt it happens. And then Panthers Saints. I mean, I wonder how that game's gonna go. I really do. I thought the Saints were gonna get crushed by the Bucks. They mess around, beat the damn Bucks, and then the Panthers, end up number 1 at NFC South, like you said. Who saw that coming? I certainly didn't. You certainly didn't. So I have no clue how that damn game's gonna go. I really don't. Panthers should win, but divisional matchup, we don't know. Well, I don't know. I'm staying away from the Panthers the rest of the year as far as my parlays and picks. Is they make me look like clowns each and every week. So we'll see how it goes with that. Speaking of picks and everything like that, it's time for our parlays of the week. So give me the Texans over the Cardinals. Give me the 49ers over the Titans, even though I feel kind of weird about that 49ers-Titans game. Give me the Jaguars over the Jets. I want to take the Rams over the Lions too. And I think that is it for me. So, yes, give me the Seahawks, the 49ers, the Texans, the Jaguars, and the Rams. Brandon, what say you?
Like the Jaguars over the Jets. We're kind of similar here for the most part. Also give me Houston over Arizona, and San Francisco beat the Titans. So I've got Jacksonville, Houston, and San Fran, and that has nothing to do with the possibility of the Chiefs getting eliminated. I do like Houston and Jacksonville because I think they're the better teams that they're playing against. Jets and Cardinals, respectfully. Nothing to do with the Chiefs, no.
All right, everybody. That's going to do it for another episode of Breaking the Entering Podcast. Like always, appreciate everybody who takes time out of their day, watch the show, like, comment, subscribe on YouTube. Look for B&E Podcast or Breaking the Entering Podcast. You can follow us on X, also known as Twitter, Podcast B&E. And look for us on Instagram as well, B&E Podcast. Y'all stay safe out there. Enjoy y'all weekends, and we'll see y'all next time. Peace.